If you smell what the nerds are cooking, good afternoon, good evening, and good morning from wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube Roasts Dwayne, the Johnson product placement rock thingy. Speaking of which, this video is sponsored by Shredder.
Sponsored by Iron Brew 1901, original recipe Iron Brew, made from girders.
Sam.
Tesco's white grape and blackberry carbonated water.
And we are also sponsored by Aquavale, Audi's still water. Drink the German. Okay, so if you've been living under need I say it? You would have seen that The Rock came back at WWE Raw yesterday and cut a promo, and it was the world's greatest promo if you were living in the 1980s. And in the process of doing that, buried a very, very lovely wrestler. And nothing says 21st century like beating up a brown man and being a pro-Americana. With that being said, he's also come back for many other reasons. One of those is to say that he wants to feast at the head of the table, setting up a Roman Reigns WrestleMania match, completely crapping on everyone else and the progress they've already made, and thus reshuffling the deck. And for what? What product do you think he's come back to promote? Because that's what it's all about. Shredder.
The Football League.
That's right.
That's it, plain and simple.
That's it. He's only come back because every time The Rock comes back, it's to promote something. If it's not a film, it's a product. And in this case, it's his UFL Football League. Zam, what are your thoughts on the return of the Dwayne, the product placement Johnson?
It doesn't fill me with any excitement whatsoever outside of his real reasons. Just him coming back. It was so been there, done it, worn the t-shirt, nothing new. I mean, this is the face version of Rock. At least when he came back as Hollywood Rock and he was on his guitar taking the piss out of everyone, I liked it. It was good. It was slightly different to some of his other heel personas prior to that one. But this face persona of his, it is the same shtick ever since he dropped Rocky Maivia and became The Rock. It is the same fucking shtick for the last God knows how many decades. Everything about it was boring and uninteresting. The Americana angle of it felt like Vince McMahon was back in the WWE fucking writing all the scripts again. And obviously shitting on a brown person too. A brown person who basically represents your third biggest audience in India. But yeah, fuck them. Who gives a shit? You know, USA. It's like, honestly, as a non-American person watching this shit in watching the world wrestling entertainment, I thought to myself, I thought we were done with all this, patriotic pandering bollocks. And most of it was just really stupid. He was absolutely blowing by the time he fucking delivered his people's elbow. This guy is so out of fucking shape to be wrestling. It's unreal. And then the only part which really mattered watching all of this was the very last minute when he mentioned the head of the table. So we had 20 minutes of bollocks and 1 minute of actual, something that, meant something. What a waste of fucking time. It really was.
Shredder, your thoughts?
No, I completely agree. This was a waste of time. They were teasing, obviously, that there was going to be a former WWE champion returned at the New Year's Day version of Raw. They never specified exactly what kind of champion, though. So it could have been, anybody, an Intercontinental champion, a US champion, a tag team champion, maybe even a women's champion. Didn't necessarily have to be a WWE World Champion. I thought there was two big possibilities going into this. One was it might have been Andrade, since he's reportedly done with AEW and he's finished up there. So I don't know if he's free yet, if his non-compete is up and he can actually go. But I thought he might be a possibility. The other was I thought they might pull a bait and switch of some kind where they bring out someone who maybe held, I don't know, the 24/7 title at some point, and then have him just be utterly destroyed by Brock Lesnar, making his return for the umpteenth time. But instead, they gave us The Rock. They gave us what was it, 15 solid minutes of patriotic promo where, again, he talked about how much he loves the Iron Sheik and just crapping all over Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal being the foreign menace, despite the fact he's actually from Canada.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he's still a foreign menace.
Oh, yeah.
To America.
Yeah.
But yeah, the modern day Maharaja, who is, again, from Canada. But yeah, Rock just crapping all over him, getting blown up after hitting a rock bottom. There's no way he's wrestling a 30-minute match against Roman Reigns, of all people. And yeah, this I still think this is just purely to promote his football league. The fact is, The Rock can't do anything without shameless product placement. I mean, just recently, he retold this story that he's been recycling like every year for the past like 5-6 years or so, where he claims that he's gone to In-N-Out Burger for the first time for his cheat meal. I mean, the most recent one, he tried to say, I've been to In-N-Out Burger, but I bought it for other people. I've never actually had it myself. And again, nobody's buying it. But he put this up on Instagram, and what does he do when he's telling this story about, showing him trying In-N-Out for the first time? Like we actually believe that's true. He promotes his tequila.
That kind of
He makes
shameless
sure
promotion
he gets his
is
tequila.
just,
Yeah, I know. It's absolutely disgusting. You
it's
would never
just
see us,
ridiculous.
doing that
I
kind of
can't
promotion.
believe he would do such a thing.
Yeah, who would do such a promoting drinks and all that shit sponsorship?
Oh,
Terrible.
so creamy, bro. So creamy.
I have absolutely no idea. But again, the whole thing wasn't this supposed to be they were building Rock versus Cody Rhodes? Sorry, not Rock. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania.
Yes.
And now the Rock's just come in and completely derailed those plans.
Again,
Yes,
by the way,
what?
because he
Again.
kind of derailed. He derailed Cena versus Miz to a degree, because that was an okay match until The Rock came along, and no one gave a shit about that match anymore. So
I mean,
he's derailing things.
He
That's what he
also
does when
stole
he
CM Punk's WrestleMania main event as well because he fought Cena.
yeah,
Back in 2011, 2012.
You talk about Cena versus The Miz. I mean, the match was pretty much an afterthought. The whole point of it was to start the 1-year build to Cena versus Rock.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that match was just a complete afterthought as far as WWE was concerned. And then, like you said, he comes back and he gets the WWE title off of CM Punk after Punk has gone on that record run of his at the time. And it's looking like they're building to a big WrestleMania main event with him at some point, and they say no, Rock Cena 2 needs the title. Bull fucking shit, it did.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the only way they could spice up on the rematch, but that's in their minds. But regarding The Rock, you can tell that his stock has fallen considerably. He was once making good movies, not anymore. His films are really shit, and we saw that with Black Adam and some of his recent stuff prior to that. He needs the WWE just as much as maybe the WWE wants him, because he's still Hollywood, but he's so desperate now to promote stuff. It's just so shameless when he does come back, because he's not doing it because he loves the WWE. He's obviously got other intentions, and when he does come back, even with those other intentions, what he does have to offer is crap. It's like he's not evolving his character in any degree, especially the face version of his character. There's no evolution there, and the nostalgia is done, because he's been making comebacks since 2011, and he's made several comebacks since then. So like, you can't hit us with the nostalgia anymore. You got to bring something new to the table, Rock, because you are a reoccurring character. It's like, to a degree, what they did with Brock Lesnar. To a degree, like they did tweak him here and there, made him this beast incarnate, suplex it, eat all of this sort of shit. They tweaked his character enough to to make him interesting. Obviously, beating the Undertaker too helped. In the evolution of his character, and in a way, turning face as well and dropping Paul Heyman also helped him as well. So like, The Rock, just coming back as the same fucking persona all the time with no tweaks whatsoever. Who gives a shit? Honestly, I'm not. This is the first time in a long time that when The Rock has come back, and I have not given a flying fuck. If anything, instead of glee, I've had disdain, because like, you're offering nothing, mate, nothing at all.
And again, that return
Yeah.
of his, I was cringing so hard, like that entire 15 minutes he was doing that
Yeah.
promo. I was like, really?
Yeah.
Is this is the Rock? This is the guy who was at one point the greatest stickman in professional wrestling. You know, the greatest mouthpiece in pro wrestling at one point, and this is him now.
It's because he doesn't have his writers anymore like he used to, you know. And look, we
It's
saw
past
it
its
again.
time.
We saw it again when he came back last year during SmackDown, but that was more impromptu kind of thing because he was recording something with Pat McAfee just up the road. So
Yeah.
they both kind of showed up just unannounced. And even there, he kind of his promo was like weak. It was just, before he used to be quite heavily scripted. That's the thing that's come out about The Rock that people didn't know about. That a lot of his stuff was actually it was a bit like Macho Man. It was very much scripted about everything he was going to say. He wasn't as great as being on the fly as we thought he was. But my issue with The Rock is that, I mean, he is just Dwayne the Brand Johnson now. And it's so cringe that everything you do about you, like you he's no longer a human anymore. He's a product. So every time he's on screen, I'm not seeing him. I'm seeing what's he plugging? What product is he gonna shove down our throats? What film is he gonna be promoting? He never, and he's got such a disingenuous tone about him. He's become such a like just cringe kind of, like those marketing people. That's what he feels like to me. He doesn't feel like he has a soul anymore. It's like he's focused so heavily on promoting his brands and his stuff that he just forgets to be what made him great in the first place. And the problem with that as well is he's very protective of his image now. So he won't do certain things in films, like he won't lose fights. He won't there were other caveats within his um, uh, when he's making a film that he just won't do. That it's in his contract, and it's basically to protect the brand. Well, when you're doing that, then what do I get as a fan from seeing The Rock? I don't get anything out of it. I just see some soulless dreg who just means nothing anymore. And when you've become that, you might as well go away. And again, this coming from a Rock mega fan, like I loved the dude. He was like my number one at the time, along with Booker T. But he was my number one because the way he would talk, his mic work, he was hilarious. He was unpredictable. He just had this swagger about him. And then, as soon as his stock went up in the films and he started promoting products, it just nosedived. It became like a one note. The man with the most charisma you'll ever see on a person became someone note. That to me, it's just heartbreaking, to be honest.
Rock in the 2020s has become like what Hulk Hogan did in the 2010s.
I was
Yeah,
thinking that actually. Yeah,
that's
I
a
was
great
thinking that.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
soulless
one too
product
many
seller.
comebacks and products. And you
Yeah,
can tell he's in it for alternative reasons. Like when Stone Cold came back, it felt like he did it because the reasons behind it felt very wrestling related. All he
Sure.
does is he has a podcast. He's not really marketing anything at all. You know what I mean? He keeps himself kind of like on a low level, so to speak. But it's good to see when he comes back. Whilst The Rock and obviously Hulk Hogan, you always feel that there's alternative reasons behind everything that they do, and it's kind of sad, really, knowing that he's only coming back to push something and not because he loves wrestling, and that's his own fault as well for having such shit movies recently that he can't rely on his films like he once did. Because when he did have a long stint in Hollywood without coming back, it's not because he came, it was like maybe like a little recharge to come back, so to speak. Just, oh, look, I'm still wrestling a little bit here and all of that malarkey. But Hollywood was his mainstay. He never really gave a fuck about wrestling. But now, obviously, he's having to rely on wrestling more and more because his career is dwindling down so fucking much. And this is where it all started for him. So that's why he's coming back all the fucking time.
well, I mean, he's gone back to the Fast and Furious franchise, something that he said he was likely not to do again, but he's gone crawling back. And you're going to understand. So he exposed himself really for his own ego during Black Adam, because it wasn't just you're cast as Black Adam, this is the role you got to do. He tried to muscle his way in and take over the DC universe. He basically tried to become what James Gunn is now and what Hamada was during his run as executive producer. He wanted to wrestle. He wanted to be the top guy, the main character, and he buried Shazam by not having him in the film, even though he was originally planned to be in the film. And he brought back Henry Cavill as Superman, but because the film was such a disaster, such a boring mess, that ended up costing Henry Cavill and the whole DC universe just completely derailed after that because of his own ego. So it cost Henry Cavill his own job. But I mean, that was bittersweet because now Amazon have kind of, handed him over the keys to the Warhammer franchise. So hopefully he can make good of that and get his much deserved redemption. Not that he did anything wrong. I'm just saying.
Rumors are that he wanted to play Kratos in God of War and all of that. But I mean, look,
Kratos.
the guy, Kratos, sorry, yeah. But I just think like the age that he is, I just think it's very hard to start a new franchise with him. Right now, it's just. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like it is dwindling for The Rock now. Maybe he needs to play alternative roles, maybe play secondary roles, maybe villains, maybe play an older character, maybe slim down a little bit and stop being this gigantic human monster that he is at this moment in time. Maybe play somebody who looks a bit more human, so to speak.
Yeah, well, that's when he had his best range, was when he was a lot slimmer. So it was after Pain and Gain where he just bulked up. It kind of seemed to have sucked his personality dry as well. All that HDH allegedly probably sucked his brain dry as well, and that's why it's become so one note. That's pure speculation on my part. Obviously, it's probably a lot of bollocks, but I'm just saying, slim down. Like again, like I said earlier, like with Jungle Cruise, like I loved him in that. He showed a bit more range than usual in there because he was playing like a bit of a sleazy con man as well. And that's what we want to see more of. That's what The Rock is. Rock is supposed to be like a sleazeball, a slime bag in the nicest sense. I don't mean that in a derogatory sense, but we don't get that. We just get one note muscles. Arnie had more personality with him, and Arnie couldn't act for shit.
I'm going to quickly show you something. I'm not sure if you've seen this before, but this made me laugh so bloody much.
Oh,
that is brilliant. That is ridiculous.
This is old school, but this is like when he was doing Hobbs and Shaw and playing Hobbs and Fast and Furious and stuff.
Classic. Poor Vincent
Company.
It's a
classic. Yeah.
Poor Vincent Company.
The thing is, when it comes to the idea of, okay, obviously the big talking point was the end of the promo where after he hit the rock bottom, he said, should the Rock eat at the head of the table? He's teasing a match with Roman Reigns. A year, maybe 2 years ago, even coming out of the pandemic, when things started to get normal and they could actually start doing stadium shows again, I would have been hyped for Rock versus Reigns. I would have thought, hell yeah, they could actually do some serious building that, especially if they had taken the title off of Reigns and just had it as this big marquee match. Don't bother, with
big
the title,
family feud. Get more people from the family tree involved.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
A Samoan family feud. And again, if it's not for the title, then you've got an indication of, you've got this potential, like, okay, who really is going to win? Because we know Rock's not winning the belt again, or at least he shouldn't.
We do. I mean, I don't know about
again,
that.
if it was just like one of those like dream match scenarios, like Rock versus Hogan, or Hogan versus Shawn Michaels, you'd be wondering who's going to win. At this point, I'm thinking, well, if they go into this match, is Rock going to pull a "that doesn't work for me, brother"?
Well, look,
Yeah.
regarding Rock versus Hogan,
Yeah.
the fans made that match because honestly, as a wrestling spectacle, it was a pile of shit. But the fans made that match, and that's why it was so good. When you watch Rock Hogan 2, it's it doesn't even come close because you already had it
No,
with
no,
and Shawn Michaels obviously made the Shawn Michaels Hogan match because of his overselling, which was absolutely beautiful. You know,
yeah, but in the build up to
it's
it
one of
as
my
well,
yeah.
the match itself fell short, obviously, because Shawn Michaels threw a temper tantrum when he found out he wasn't going over, and Hogan wasn't going to have this best of 3 series that they planned. They were only going to work one match, and Hogan was going over. So he oversold the entire match. But the build up to it, I was pumped for that. I was excited to
Yeah,
see Shawn Michaels pulling a match out of Hulk Hogan.
and plus Shawn
But
Michaels playing a heel for the first time since he's come back into wrestling, which was really good because
yeah,
he's
but
so fucking
look,
good at it.
I'm not even saying look, these dream matches were, the best quality ever, but the excitement was there for the build for Rock versus Hogan.
Yeah, it was. But yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah,
This one, I
This
think,
one,
again, and a lot of fans aren't happy about this either because they're again seeing Cody Rhodes getting undercut and screwed over. And I know, like Zan made a good point earlier. Look, goes, yes, we know Cody's going to go to WrestleMania, then he's going to win it, and that kind of ruins the surprise of it, and you know what's coming, all that kind of stuff. I agree, but it's The Rock. If they'd have thrown in the shoe and said, okay, well, instead of uh, Cody, it's going to be LA Knight, for example, or something along those lines, fine, because then you don't know what's going to happen. But with The Rock, yeah, it's just, I just think, and because he's coming back just to promote a bloody football league as well, it's just, it just feels so, just soulless, just
look,
meaningless.
I'll book it like this, and this is not ideal. Don't get me wrong, but maybe to keep all parties happy, Rock versus Reigns at WrestleMania. Rock beats Reigns, you know, because that Reigns is the heel, and you need the face to go over and all of that shit. Usually, most of the time, and then have Cody beat Rock at SummerSlam, and that would do for me. You know, I think that would be more than palatable.
Either that or Roman Reigns fights 2 nights, and then the first night he loses to Cody Rhodes, and the second
That
night
wouldn't, yeah, but that
he loses
wouldn't really
to The
do
Rock.
Cody Rhodes. That wouldn't do well for Cody Rhodes because he's fought. So you think Cody Rhodes fights first?
Yeah, the first night, because don't forget
Oh,
WrestleMania is 2 nights.
yeah, I know that, but it depends. I mean, you would want the title match to be the second match.
Yeah,
So the
I
second,
don't want that. I'm just saying, what if? Like, I don't like that idea because again, that's going to rob CM Punk because I'm sure he's going to get a main event for the first night, and then the second night will be the main event for Roman Reigns and Dwayne the Brand Johnson. So
I mean, it's
yeah,
crazy, but the rumors are that CM Punk could possibly win the Royal Rumble if things are going according to plan. I mean, I wouldn't mind a fatal four way, you know, have everyone involved in it
well, no, I
in
mean,
some capacity.
if
You've done it
CM Punk,
before.
yeah, sorry to interrupt, but if CM Punk wins, he's going to probably fight and beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania
yeah.
for that title. That's the more likely scenario because Seth Rollins
Yeah, fair enough.
obviously
Yeah, good point.
his own title.
But I
But
mean, the way I'd do it is I'd take the belt off Reigns at the Rumble. I'd shock everyone, have Reigns lose the title at the Rumble,
exactly, that's
but
exactly
have
what
Rock
should.
cost him the belt. Have
Yeah,
Rock cost him the belt. So I don't know who you put Roman Reigns against at the Rumble. I mean, I certainly wouldn't have it be Cody Rhodes because obviously Cody Rhodes' whole thing is he wants to win the title at WrestleMania,
He's fighting
and
Shinsuke as well.
that's a sort, and he's wrestling Shinsuke at the Rumble. So I don't know who you would have Reigns go up against, but the way I would do it, I would have The Rock at ringside as like a VIP guest,
fuck,
and during the
I'd
course.
just do the Rock LA Night. Screw it.
Well, no, again,
Not the
the way
Rock
I would
LA
do it at the
Night. Roman
Rumble.
Reigns LA Night.
Well, the way I would do it at the Rumble. Okay. Well, let's say they do it with LA Knight. Have Rock at ringside as like a special guest. He's there. He's there just as a special guest for the night. He's going to watch the show. At some point during the title match, Roman comes down out towards the Rock at ringside. He mouths off at him, maybe even throws a drink over him. And Rock jumps the barrier, hits Reigns with a rock bottom, Referee makes the cover. He's not seeing The Rock hit the Rock bottom. The guy makes the cover. 1, 2, 3. Reigns loses the belt. He's then got motivation to fight The Rock.
Yeah,
grudge match, and it'd be
Yeah,
on
I
the
mean,
table.
And it's a non-title match.
I
That
don't know.
should
Did
be, in my
Roman Reigns
opinion.
come out at Raw? I don't think he did he?
No.
No,
No.
then
it's
Roman
So
Reigns is
you
SmackDown.
can play the angle of him just like, I'm not interested. I don't care. You're beneath me. I am the head of the table. I don't need some part-time Hollywood tomboy playboy coming in trying to rain on my parade and all this kind of shit. I'm better than you in every way, blah blah blah. And then that happens at the Rumble, and then it's like, okay, now you got a match. You know, I think that would be the best angle that works for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then you
ideally,
can put Cody Rhodes
what you
against
want.
whoever has beaten Roman Reigns for the title at WrestleMania. Have that as like night 1's main event. Have night 2 be Reigns versus Rock.
Or that.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but because whatever happens, I do feel Rock Reigns needs to be non-title. You don't need to put a title in the picture.
I agree.
It was a bit like
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you have Rock cost him the belt, it becomes a grudge match instead, and it has interest in it without the need for the title.
Yeah, I mean, it's all like very confusing. You still have CM Punk in the picture somewhere where obviously he's going to be fighting Rollins, I guess. So yeah, I guess that is.
Yeah,
fine.
I think CM Punk Rollins is going to happen night 1. I think that would be main event night 1. I can't see Reigns fighting 2 nights.
But
yeah,
I just feel at the same time like someone like Cody Rhodes needs to beat somebody of supreme top tier, to elevate himself, and that it should be either The Rock or Roman Reigns. I mean, personally, I wouldn't mind if Dustin Rhodes came back, and then they had something, to fill in the void for WrestleMania. And like I said, then Cody Rhodes can go into SummerSlam and fight either Roman Reigns or The Rock for the title. Something along those lines. I just feel that's the best for all comers. This is not ideal, obviously, with The Rock coming back, because obviously he's throwing a spanner in the works. A lot of fans don't really care about that too much. I don't actually care about that too much to a degree regarding what goes on. I just know that he's back for the wrong reasons, which is what irks me. So
Again, absolutely shameless product placement on his part.
I know he's just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Well, on that note, Dwayne the Johnson Rock product placement brand, Rocky Maivia Johnson, Dwayne, your stock has fallen, and just you got expat heat now for me. I think you just got expat heat. You just need to go away now. Go rebrand yourself as somebody likable. And on that note, we're going to end the video there. I want to thank my co-host for joining me, and we'll see you for the next one. Toodle-oo.